Do you have a, I don't know, favorite paper that you've written? Favorite article? Pick among the children?
That's hard. That's hard. I actually, you know, I think the one I really liked the paper we had in JPSB 2 years ago on graphs. And I really like it because it felt to me that when I wrote that paper, I mean, it took 2 years to get to review. There were 6 versions of that paper. Let me think, 1, 2, 3.5 of the 6 experiments that are in there were not in the first version, right? So it's a book.
So you have to like it now.
I have to like it. And you know, I like the Action editor very much. I respect her enormously, and I think she made it a much better paper, and I think that's what she does. She's one of those Action editors that makes your paper better and really works with you. And that was the case in point. But what I really like about it is, I think that in that paper I got something really concrete about some of those early ideas that I was trying to get to about difference and constructions of gender difference, right. Back in graduate school. So it's a paper that cites Sandra Harding, it's a paper that cites Foucault, it's a paper that cites Latour and William James and Bernal, and there's a lot of history of psychology in that paper, there's a lot of science and technology studies in that paper. And you know, it deliberately kind of makes the point about the difference between studying subjectivity and studying bias, and it has a very relativist kind of trick at the end. And I'm very excited about that because it's in JPSV as well. That's kind of part of it. So it is there in a very, very mainstream venue, and that I think about sort of changing that relationship between the margin and the mainstream is what's interesting to me. And they were fun experiments to do. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. And the effects were very large. They were easy experiments to do. We just did another one recently, and the effects are huge again. And it was sort of a way, studying that stuff on graphs was a way of looking at how something that is very androcentric convention in psychological science is just there. It's real, it exists, it's hiding in plain sight, nobody's noticing it because our ways of thinking about graphs were totally off the table of that debate about gender difference that was so loud. We just wasn't thinking about visualization at all. And similarly, the cognitive psychology stuff on spatial thinking was just not interfacing with feminism at all. So a little bit like the sort of Kahneman, Judith Butler moment, it felt like here I am sort of taking something and sort of putting things together, but actually I felt there was something new that I was bringing to that because nobody was really talking about graph order before that. So, and the earlier paper was cited by the APA publication manual, which is great. So there's now stuff in there about graph orders.